students, how are you? I hope all are good. Welcome back to another class. Today, let me start English chapter number 9, the story of Robin Hood. One day, Robin was walking alone in the wood and reached a river which was spanned by a very narrow bridge over which one man only could pass. रॉबिन जो है टहल रहा था अकेला, ठीक है, और वो एक नदी पर पहुंचा जहां पर एक पुल बना हुआ था और वो पुल ऐसा था कि उसे केवल एक ही व्यक्ति एक बार में पास कर सकता. In the midst stood a stranger and Robin bade him go back and let him go over. जब वो वहां पहुंचा तो वहां पे एक व्यक्ति ऑलरेडी था, तो उसने कहा कि तुम वापस जाओ, मैं पास कर लेता उसको, फिर तुम आ जाना. And no man of yours was on the answers. Robin got in anger. He drew his bow and fitted an arrow to it. Would you shoot a man who has no arms but a staff? Asked the stranger in scorn, and with shame Robin laid down his bow and unbuckled an oaken stick at his side. We shall fight till one of us falls into the water, he said, and fight they did. Till the stranger planted a blow so well that Robin rolled over into the river. You are a brave soul, said he, when he had waded to land, and he blew a blast with his horn, which brought 50 good fellows, clad in green, to the little bridge. Have you fallen into the river, that your clothes are wet? Asked one, and Robin made answer, No, but the stranger fighting on the bridge got the better of me and tumbled me into the stream. At this, choristers seized the stranger and would have tugged him had not their leader bade them stop and begged the stranger to stay with them and make one of themselves. Here is my hand, replied the stranger, and my heart, with it my name, if you would know it, is John Little. That must be uttered, cried Will Scarlet. We will call a feast, and henceforth, because he is full 7 feet tall, he shall be called Little John. And thus it was done, but at the feast, Little John, who always liked to know exactly what work he had to do, put some questions to Robin Hood. Before I join hands with you, tell me first what sort of life is this you lead? How am I to know whose goods I shall take and whose I shall leave, whom I shall beat and whom I shall refrain from beating? And Robin answered, Look that you harm not any tiller, two of the ground, no any yeoman of the greenwood, no knight, no squire, unless you have heard him is spoken of. But if bishops or archbishops come your way, see that you spoil them, and mark that you always hold in your mind the high sheriff of Nottingham. This being said, Robin Hood declared Little John to be second in a command to himself among the brotherhood of the forest, and the new outlaw never forgot to hold in his mind the high sheriff of Nottingham, who was the bitterest enemy the foresters had. Robin Hood, however, had no liking for a company of idle men about him, and he at once sent off Little John and Will Scarlet to the great road known as Watling Street, with orders to hide among the trees and wait till some adventure might come to them. And if they took captive Earl or Baron aboard a night, he was to be brought unharmed back to Robin Hood. At length, just where a side path turned into the broad highway, where rode a knight and a solar man than he never set a horse on summer day. One foot only was in the stirrup, the other hung carelessly by his side. His head was bowed, the reins dropped loose, and his voice went on as he pulled. At so sad a sight, the hearts of the outlaws were filled with pity, and Little John fell on his knees and bade the knight welcome in the name of his master. Who is your master? Asked the knight. Robin Hood, answered Little John. I have heard much good of him, replied the knight, and will go with you gladly. Welcome, Sir Knight, said Robin Hood, and thrice welcome, for I waited to break my fast till you or some other had come to me. God save you, good Robin, answered the knight. And after they had washed themselves in the stream, they sat down to dine of bread and wine with flesh of the king's deer and swan and pheasants. Such a dinner have I not had for 3 weeks and more, said the knight. And if I ever come again this way, good Robin, I will give you as fine a dinner as you have given me. I thank you, replied Robin. My dinner is always welcome. Still, I am none so greedy, but I can wait for it. But before you go pay me, I pray you for the food which you have had. It was never the custom for me to pay for a night. My bag is empty, said the knight, same for 10 shillings only. Go, little John, and look in his wallet, said Robin, and said knight, if in truth you have no more, not one penny will I take, nay, I will give you all that you shall need. So little John spread out the knight's mantle and opened the bag, and therein lay 10 shillings and naught besides. What tidings, little John? Cried his master. Sir, the knight speaks truly, said little John. For 100 years my fathers have dwelt in the forest, said the lion, and 400 pounds might they spend yearly, but within 2 years misfortune has befallen me and my wife and children also. How did this evil come to pass? Asked Robin. Through my own folly, answered the knight, and because of the great love I bore my son, who would never be guided of my counsel, and slew a slewer. He was 20 years old, a knight of Lancaster, and a squire. For their deaths I had to pay a large sum, which I could not raise without giving my legs in pledge to the rich abbot of St. Manis. If I cannot bring him the money by a certain day, the will be lost to me forever. What is the sum? Asked Robin. Tell me truly. It is 400 pounds, said the knight. And what will you do if we lose your lands? Asked Robin again. Hide myself over the sea, said the knight, and bid farewell to my friends and country. There is no better way open to me. At the tears will from his eyes, and he turned him to depart. Good day, my friend. He said to Robin, I cannot pay you what I should. But Robin held him fast. Where are your friends? Asked he. So they have all forsaken me since I became poor, and they turn away their hats if we meet upon the road. Though when I was rich, they were ever in my castle. When little John and Will Scarlet and the rest heard this, they wept for very shame and fury. Is equal, said Robin, and you, little John, go to my treasure chest and bring me hence 400 pounds, and be sure you count it truly. So little John went and Will Scarlet, and they brought back the money. When shall we meet again? Asked the knight. This day 12 months, said Robin, under the greenwood tree. Back home the abbot was happy. If he come not this day, cried the abbot, rubbing his hands, if he come not this day, all the lands will be ours. I have come back, my lord, the knight said to the abbot, who had just returned from the court. I have come back this day as I promised. Have you brought my money? Was all the abbot said. Not a penny, answered the knight, who wished to see how the abbot would treat him. Then what do you hear without it? Cried the abbot in angry tones. I have come to pay you for a longer day, answered the knight meekly. But the abbot only vowed that the money must be paid that day or the lands be forfeited. The knight stood up straight and tall. It is well, said he, to pour one's friends against the hour of need. Give him 200 pounds more, said the justiciar to the abbot, and keep the lands yourself. No, by heaven, answered the knight, not if you'd offered me 1,000 pounds would I do it. Neither justiciar, abbot, nor monk shall be there here of mine. Then he strode up to a table and emptied out 400 pounds. So take your gold, sir abbot, which you lent to me a year agone, had you but received me civilly. I would have paid you something more. After this, the knight dwelt at home looking after his lands and saving his money carefully, till the 400 pounds lay ready for Robin Hood. Then he bought 100 bows and 100 arrows, and every arrow had a head of silver and peacock's feathers. And clothing himself in white and red, and with 100 men in his train, he set off to Sherwood Forest. He met Robin Hood there, but Robin would not take the money. A miracle had happened. So he said, and Our Lady had paid it to him, and shame would it be for him to take it twice over. Then he noticed for the first time the bows and arrows which the knight had brought, and asked what they were. A poor present to you, answered the knight, and Robin, who would not be outdone, sent Little John once more to his treasury and bade him bring forth 400 pounds, which was given to the knight. After that, they parted in much love, and Robin prayed the knight, if he were in any strait, to let him know at the greenwood tree, and while there was any gold there, he should have it. So, dear students, this chapter is in here. I hope you all are very well understood full chapter. So, we will meet you in the next class. Thank you, everyone.